All right, what's going on, folks? It is Zach here, and today is February 1st, 2025. This is our final pull day at 1 RIR. See here, we're just doing the good old calf raises at the start of the workout here, warming up with the bar. Today was a very beautiful day. It finally warmed up down here. It was in like the 50s or 60s. I even went on a nice little walk in the afternoon, like 4 p.m. It was like 62 degrees or something like that. Beautiful. So let's not waste any time. Get right into it. How do we feel after yesterday? So that push day, chest is nice and sore. Maybe like 6 to 7 out of 10. Yeah, 7 out of 10, especially when I reach up. So definitely like the bottom portion of the chest here is pretty dang sore. Maybe from the changes I made there on those dumbbell flies. Potentially working some different fibers than usual. So that's nice to see. As far as triceps, they're still probably same thing, about 7 out of 10, nice and sore, definitely stimulated there. Shoulders, I feel, are more sore than usual, and actually, I don't know about you guys, but whenever I watch YouTube content, there, of course, there's a million voices out there, people saying all kinds of crazy stuff, and it's media is so widely available coming from individuals now, that you can find a lot of BS out there, but there's a lot of really great stuff too. And it's so funny because I've been doing overhead presses for weeks now, 4 weeks now, and I was watching a podcast earlier, a bodybuilder named Niall Niga. I love his podcast, super cool. I think it's called the Transparent Podcast, a reference to Trenbolone, which of course is a steroid, but they get into anabolics and stuff like that on that podcast. But he was talking to a world-renowned strength coach, and the guy's talking about how overhead presses will destroy your shoulders. I'm like, good lord, man, I don't know. It's that kind of stuff always kind of like sets me on edge. I'm like, oh no, like, am I doing something bad here? Like, that's not good. I don't want to, destroy my freaking shoulders, but I guess I would need to look into it more. That's kind of the message I'm trying to put across here is look into this stuff yourself, guys. If you hear something one time, someone says something like, oh, I'd never do that exercise because it's dangerous. It'll cause X, Y, and Z. You might want to look into it and he could very well be right. That's the other reason why you look into it too, because if you're doing something that's damaging you or that's dangerous, well, it would behoove you to stop doing that. So, just be wary. And I'm definitely going to look into it because one of my primary goals is to not get injured. Because if I get injured, I can't train. And if I can't train during a bulk, I can't gain muscle. And if I can't train during a cut, I can't maintain my muscle. And so it's just a wash, you know what I mean? So getting injured is just about the worst thing that could happen in a program, because it's going to potentially cease all progress forward. So just a little thing that I thought was interesting earlier. We talked about the chest. Oh, the reason I launched into that is because the overhead press is our shoulder workout, or our shoulder exercise rather. So I was going to say that they feel a little more sore today, and I think it was I did get that extra half rep. But I mean, the work was essentially the same, because on the drop set, I lost half a rep. So, kind of a wash there. But, shoulders are maybe like a 3 to 4 out of 10. So, I think for sure going forward, I think even during my cut, you guys will see one of the things I like to do when I'm at a lower calorie intake, especially once I get into my third and fourth macrocycle cutting, is I'm gonna put in a lot more seated exercises, because exercises that require you to stand up and brace your whole body, they just add a lot more fatigue than something that you're like, I'm like locked into the back of the bench and I'm pressing up. It's a lot more, I'm using an implement to stabilize me rather than making all my muscles do that. So just a little strategy that we'll use coming up whenever we start cutting. And man, I'm very excited, guys. I can't wait to start getting lean. It's so true. People talk about it in fitness circles all the time. No one cares about you when you're bulking. And it's true, man. You get all puffy and, less definition. Veins are kind of hiding. Abs are looking watery. And maybe you can't even see the bottom two very well. That's where I'm at. So I'm excited to start dropping fat soon. But let's talk about these incline curls. So, I did, let me see here. I did, I guess, technically increase performance here. I was able to do, I didn't have to break it up as much. I was able to do, like, the first set, I do 17. So that matches with the first set last session. So we're good there. And then instead of 11 plus 5, I did 12 plus 5. And then on the third set, I did 9 plus 5 plus 3. And if you haven't seen my previous videos, the pluses are an intensity technique called myo-rep matching, where my goal on every set after the first one is to hit that same number of reps. But because you're going to be tired and you're going to have local fatigue in whatever muscle you're using, you're probably not going to be able to hit the same number of reps. Unless you're sandbagging it, then I guess you might be able to. If you're like at 10 RIR, you could probably do the same number of reps every time. But if you're pushing hard, you're probably not going to match the number of reps. So what you do is, you guys will see it here, I do as many as I can, and then once I get to that desired reps in reserve, so for me it's 1, once I get there and I feel like, okay, I could probably do only 1 more rep here, I'll rest for like 5 to 10 seconds, go back at it, and then approach it again, and then once I get to 1 again, pause again, take a pause, go again, and you just keep doing that until you hit the desired number of reps. It's kind of like a giant set, but I don't know if there probably is a distinct difference between the two, but I can't reference it right now. But that's what I'm doing here, myo-rep match, and it's gnarly. This is a great intensity technique. I love it. I don't use too many because I'm still I would say I'm probably still a beginner, honestly, as far as lifting goes. I have a past of lifting. I've done hypertrophy stuff. I did powerlifting in high school, but it's been off and on. Like high school, I lifted the whole way. After high school was Marine Corps. Marine Corps, I lifted the whole time, pretty much. Maybe there was a 6-month period or so where I wasn't going to the gym and doing hypertrophy style workouts, but I've been lifting a lot throughout my life, but it hasn't been consistent. So I wouldn't say I'm an intermediate at this point. So you can see here, I'm taking that little rest pause before I get back into it to try to match those reps again. That's that myo-rep matching technique. So, all right. So, yes. So one of the things I wanted to mention here, because I was able to do 12 instead of 11 last session, does that mean I got stronger? No, not really. On this day, in this way, I was able to get an additional rep, and it still felt like 1 RIR. I'm not necessarily stronger, because just like your weight can fluctuate, I mean, even how stressed you are, how good quality your sleep is, how hydrated you are, what your, how many electrolytes you brought in through the day, what your glycogen stores are like, all kinds, myriad of factors go into how you perform at any given time. And so I'm not really taking too much stock into that small increase, but hey, anytime a variation results in a greater capacity to do work and lift, hey, awesome, that's great. But it's not as hard on the ego like that, because there are definitely times. What was it? It was yesterday, right? Yeah, tricep extensions. Because my triceps weren't fully recovered yet, my performance went down, and that's one of these situations where on that day in that way, because I wasn't recovered, not quite as good. So thankfully we dropped a set, and then we should be able to pick back up when we switch over to zero RIR and be able to give it a final, I was going to say a final week. We're going to see where we're at, because of the fact that my triceps are hitting their maximum recoverable volume. Is kind of what that's called. It's a term referring to basically the number of sets you can do in a given workout and recover from in time for your next session. That would be your minimum recoverable, that's maximum recoverable volume. I guess so. Yeah, maximum recoverable volume. How much was the most you can do and still be able to recover? And so I guess that's, 6 sets a week is about all I can do on triceps, and that's direct work, because I still consider, typically how I count it is like an overhead press. I count those as like a set of overhead press as half a set of tricep work, essentially, because it's not direct, but it's heavily involved. Triceps are definitely working on an overhead press. Same thing with that dumbbell incline press. So what is it? Let's see. That's 1, 2, 3.5, 4, 5, 6.5. So 6.5, 6.5. That's 13 sets of triceps in a week. That's a lot of tricep work, which is great because I want to have gigantorous arms, but clearly I found my limit. So we are hedging our bets, making it to where we should at least be able to do 1 microcycle. So that's a legs push-pull at 0 RIR. We should at least be able to do that, and then we'll see after I do that. If I'm super duper banged up after the rest day, might just call it there, start the deload, and then the cut, ladies and gentlemen. And the cut, I'm so hyped for it now, but once I'm like a couple months into it, I'm super hungry, I'm gonna hate it. But right now, it's gotten to the point where I'm having to like stuff myself I'm not enjoying eating all the food. It's becoming, gross. I'm not hungry. I'm pretty much, the only time I'm ever hungry right now is in the morning when I wake up. So it's kind of a sign, all right, probably time to pull back on the food. And it's crazy too, because I'm only eating a surplus of like 150 to 250 calories. It varies a little bit because I do, if it fits your macros, I don't do a meal plan where I eat the same meals every day or like interchange them. I just put meals together on the go, which I'm sure would stress a lot of people out. Like, oh my God, dude, you don't know you're having to hit all these increments and you don't know. I've played with and I've experimented with nutrition more. Oh yeah. So yeah, we hit failure a lot on the pull-ups because we're basically going to 0. Since we're doing those forced reps at the end, the long length partials, we're pretty much going to 0 RIR every time, which is fine because my lats recover no problem by the time. I haven't had any issue with them recovering. And in fact, how was our performance here? Yeah, so I got last session. This applies too for that change in strength. That thing I was talking about on this day in this way. It applies to these pull-ups too, because I got last session 13 plus 2 long length partials on the first set. Today I got 14 plus 2. And then I matched everything else, 10 plus 2 and 8 plus 2 for the second and third set, respectively. So, pretty good performance. I'm happy. Was able to go beast mode on the curls and the pull-ups. I mean, that's a good sign. I know for sure I'll be able to do another pull workout. Fatigue is not too high, so really happy with that. But you guys will see the 0 RIR days when I'm taking every set to failure. I mean, sometimes all it takes is 1 session of that, and then I'll be smoked for like 4 or 5 days. And if that's the case, well, we'll just end this macro cycle early and start the deload, and then start planning out. I will be swapping out some exercises for our first cutting macrocycle that we're going to do. So we'll talk about that when it happens. But yeah, performance on the pull-ups was good. Let's see, do I have any notes on it? So yeah, lats were mega pumped, which it was great. Of course, we love that. And I don't know if there were any special cues I had going on. I've pulled the band. You guys will probably see I pulled the band. It's further back on my feet. I used to put it on like the balls of my feet. Now I've got it in like the arch, because after doing those calf raises, if I put it on the balls of my feet do that weird little twitchy thing. Probably because my calves are all pumped up and fatigued. They do a little weird twitchy thing. It's just uncomfortable, and I feel like it's like herky-jerky. So move that back, and then of course I talked about last session, slowing that transition down between on the way up and on the way down, and then not like bursting up. Although I might add some faster kind of reps to some of my programming here soon, just because I don't want to do everything with the same tempo. You know what I mean? That's boring. So we're gonna play around with some variation. The last thing I want to do is burn myself out, because hey, this is a half garage gym, okay? So, and it's dumbbells, adjustable dumbbells, and a barbell with plates. That's it. So there's not a ton of variation, but the variation I can get, I want to take advantage of, because I'm basically anytime you're training, you're fighting adaptation, because your body is going to get used to whatever you're doing, and you're going to have to make some change if you want progress, whether that's strength or hypertrophy, or if you're just trying to, there's some people that lift to like bulletproof their joints, make their knees stronger, hips stronger, make yourself more resilient, or even just for health and longevity. Your body gets used to these workouts over time, so you're going to want to switch them up and, change out exercises, change the rep scheme, lift heavy for a while, lift light for a while, try different things out. People have different, this was something I was hearing, which I knew, but I didn't know so in depth on that podcast I was mentioning earlier with Niall about, the fast twitch and slow twitch muscle fibers. There's actually a lot more than like type 1 and type 2. It's, and it depends on your genetics and stuff. So try different stuff out, see what works for you, see what doesn't work for you, and, stick with the good stuff, but keep it varied. So, flexion rows. Oh, and actually, oh man, I extended my arm to touch the mouse there, and I noticed that my biceps are already sore. Dude, those MyoRep Match, I'm telling you, if you guys want to grow your biceps, you want big arms, and you haven't tried that MyoRep Match style incline dumbbell curl, dude, give it a try for real. It's crazy. Crazy. I was doing 2 bicep exercises before this macrocycle. I never got as sore as doing just this one. And it's important to mention that I'm doing it at the beginning, aside from the calf raises, but that's a lower body exercise, so it's not really going to interfere with the curl necessarily, unless I'm doing something wacky. But doing the MyoRep Match just blows all that other stuff. And I was doing, what was I doing? I think I was doing supinated dumbbell curls and then straight barbell curls. I was doing both of those, multiple sets each, and I was not getting as sore as with these incline curls. So for real, try them out. Now these flexion rows, how did we do? Oh yeah, that was the one. Well, as far as performance, we matched what we did last time, 19 and 16, and of course blew up the spinal erectors, everything getting wacky. But I did notice when I was watching the intro just how much better my form is now on these. And week 1 to week 4, it's just night and day difference. So as I'm cowering here, just kind of, actually what I'm really doing is bowing to the rack and showing respect for the weight. I'm going to head out, guys, and finished up one IR. We're moving into fail on every set, so we'll see how that goes. I'm looking to publish a more like interesting video tomorrow. It's not gonna be a training session video. It's gonna be something different. So look out for that. But I'm gonna head out, guys. I hope y'all have a good one. See ya.